Well, good morning and welcome back. I was watching a video yesterday and I spotted something that was a little curious to me, and I'll just explain why it was curious. So I brought this back up. Now, when I tried to fit the top piece here, it seemed like it was going to be too big, and I couldn't work out why they got it so far wrong when everything else fits really good. And I'll show you what I mean. So here I have the ring bit that goes on top, and these are loose, but they're not that tight. As you can see, I haven't glued them in properly yet. So basically, when it sat on there, pretty much like that. And I'll zoom in, and as you can see, it doesn't really fit that well. I'll try and bring that up closer. It has a lip on it. Now, I was watching another video and I'm like, oh, theirs is not sitting down either. Maybe it's not supposed to sit down. So I was about to cut this and do all sorts of stuff to it to make it fit. But now after watching the video, I'm not going to. I'm going to pretty much put it on exactly like this, because I do believe this is the way it's supposed to be. And you paint it all black, and then pretty much just the outer ring here, just in colour on the outer ring, just through there, so that the black pretty much comes through. So anyway, I just wanted to bring that up because I didn't know that myself. So I'm glad I watched that other video and seen that, because yes, I was about to really do some crazy stuff to make it go down. But it turns out, I mean, it does have to be adjusted slightly. Of course, with my big hands, it's not easy to do. But anyway, yeah, so I just thought I'd mention that, and I'm not going to cut that anymore. And yeah, I will move on with the painting with that afterwards. All right. I think what I'm also going to do is continue on with the superstructures today. And as you can see, the ship is really starting to come together. But we do need to finish off the next part of this one here. So I think what I'll do today is I think I'll crack on with that. So I'll get set up and yeah, we'll get on with it. So pretty much we need these parts here, and as I explained yesterday, I marked off all the pieces that have yet to be finished but have to be done afterwards, and basically the circle just reminds me that it needs to be done. And as you can see further up, we've ticked some of the stuff that has been done. I did circle that because I did not add that yesterday, but I'll do that this morning as well. Okay, so here's that main section that's got to be cut off. Just there. There is my C11 and C12. I'm going to cut them off one at a time so I don't get them confused. So I have the first couple of parts, and as usual I'll go through and clean them up, and then I'll come back. I've come back in to show you these couple of sections here. There's one there, and there's basically one on the other side there. I got to tell you, I find those incredibly annoying to remove, because you want to try and keep this lip here, remove the sprue, but you know, make it look good, and it takes a while to do it. I thought I would just come back and show you what it looks like after that sprue has been removed, just from there. And yeah, you're pretty much trying to keep the edge and just remove the bit. I'll come back after I clean the rest of them. I'll just nudge that one over just a little bit more. Okay. Okay, so now I have the pieces ready, and that one there was very, very hard to get clean, but as you can see, it's nice and clean now all the way around, and I'll get set up to get this one put together. I'm just currently going back in the plan to try and work out whether the door is this way or the other way, and unfortunately this has two beveled edges. That gives me no clue, so I'll come back once I work it out. So the piece I'm actually working on is this one here, C11. It doesn't really say it, and doesn't really say it on the next plan either, so I'm just going to assume that this one does have the door on this side, so that both sides have the door on each one, and clearly this one has a door at the front as well. So not 100% sure, but that's the way I'm going to do it. Okay, I'll come back in a minute. Two more parts from the H sprue, and I'll remove them and get them ready. Okay, I've got all my pieces cleaned up and laid out in the right order, and I will start to fit them together. So I just generally squeeze the corners into my fingers like that, sort of hold them both together, and then I'll flip it over and put a dab of glue on it. And then once the glue's on there, I just very, very finely adjust this so the corners come up really good. I only just put a dab, so after I've got it all together, I'll go through and put another dab just to, you know, make it a bit stronger. So I'll go through and put the other side on now. And again, just after gluing, just messing with it just enough to get the corners exactly right. Show that way so it's level on top there as well. That's it. Let that go off for a minute, and then I'll fit the last piece on there. I'll do the last one on the camera here. So just a little tiny dab just to set it off. Just to give it something to start it. Put the two corners together. Not going to worry about the other side just for the moment. Just mess with that corner. Keep it aligned. And then let it go off for a minute. We'll flip it over and do the other one. Now it's set up for the other side. So just watch that corner there, just a little dab, because we don't want it to run in a wick. And again, now that that's on, we will just finesse that corner just a little bit. It's a little off shape. So just rock it back into shape a bit. So there you have it all back together. Just let it dry for a minute, and I'll come back and then we'll fit this to, I think it's the underside of this. As you can see, it's the right way around. Just make sure it's the right this way with the doors up and not the opposite way, because then when you go to flip this, your doors are going to be in the wrong spot, and this is pretty much the next level. So I'll flip that back, put this back now. I'll just zoom out for a second and I'll show you what I mean. So here's the structure here, and I do believe this is going on this way, so up this is glued. So as you can see, that's the right way, and your doors are the right way, so that's very important which way those doors go. Anyway, just thought I'd mention that just in case it wasn't obvious. Now let's get this thing glued up. Again, just a little bit of pressure on it centralise it. Actually, before we do that, I might just give it a quick little clean. Hang on a second. What I mean by clean is just some of these corners just not quite good enough yet. So I'll just give them a quick little buff and get them a bit neater than what they are. My buff has a rough surface and obviously the buff side. So I just going to give the corner a quick little thing, and then basically I'll buff that out after I've done most of these corners. I like to really clean and buff them because they actually look like they were molded right out of the pack, just like that. So yeah, very happy with that. Anyway, let's get ready to glue this down. Okay, so now we'll flip it back, centralize it, and we'll just put a dab of glue in there. Just wicked across the front a little bit. Give that half a second to go off. Nearly got me. Yep. And then turn it around. And we'll do the same on the other side. Okay. Hold it down. And we'll have a see how it looks. So that is that section there all done. So we've completed that, and that. Thank you very much, and we'll move on to the next page. So this structure pretty much sits on top of there. Dry fit the part, and a little bit of a gap there, but that will push down nicely on there. Now, before I glue this one in, I am noticing, even though there's a few little parts that's got to go on here, so I think there's a locker box or something that goes in here. I think I'll have enough room to fit it afterwards. Not like it's too tight, but obviously that's got to go in first before anything else here, because basically I'm just wondering whether I should fit that now or afterwards. And I might fit it in now because I can actually see whether it's straight and level before I put the floor on. And just while I'm there, I'm just going to double check what goes into these little grooves here as well. I don't know if you can see them. I'll zoom in. So if I flip it up, actually I don't need to flip it up, just take that off. So the locker boxes go here, and I just need to see what goes here and here and work out what's going on here before we glue that piece down. Okay, anyway, I'll come back in a minute. I do believe the front ones are going to be a ladder, and that other one, I don't really know what that is, but that is H23, that'll go there. And the locker boxes, well, that's a locker box there for that other one where there was a dip. And I'll just double check what goes there. Need to go to the other plant. I'll have to change it, hang on. Yeah, so K5 for those two holes. So basically there are a small locker box and a large locker box that has to go there. And because they're going right underneath this here, I think I'm going to add those first. So I'll get them ready as well. So these are K5, these tiny little locker boxes right in here. Pretty tiny, so I'll cut them off and get them ready. So here they are off the sprue, and as you can see, let's try this, zoom in. Zoom, zoom. Maybe it's not going to do it. Oh, it's trying to there. They need cleaning, so we're going to clean them off. Yes, they're tiny, but they're going to be cleaned. So this is why I'm adding these now, because they're absolutely tiny, and trying to squeeze them in underneath the roof and trying to get them nice and level is going to be difficult. So that's in. Oop, fingers. God, making a mess of this one. Alright, so push it down. Nice and level that way. Where are we? That way. There you go. And we'll do the same with the other side. And yeah, and as you can see, trying to do that when the roof is on is just almost impossible. We'll put the next one on. Just give that a dab. And there. Sort of half set off. That's better. Push it in, and that one went in a lot better than the first one. Just make sure they're plumb. So they're in. And we'll just do the larger ones now that go in here, and I do believe that's a ladder and that is something else. I don't know what that is. So I'll do them. I just cleaned this side of the large locker box. I'm not going to clean the other side because it's going to go up against the wall. You're not going to see it. So as long as one side is clean, it'll be okay. So I'll just go through and fit that. So I just dry fitted this. That's rather a big hole to be dropping that box in. So I think what I'll do, instead of actually just dropping it all the way in, I'll just put a little bit of glue on the bottom and we'll just dab it in like so, and we'll just leave that like that without forcing it too far down. So that'll take a minute to go off. I'll turn it around and we'll do the other side. And again, trying to clean these tiny little pieces off, I'll just clean the one side and I'll fit this one as well. Again, I barely put some glue in it and just dropped it in because I didn't like how far it went in when I was dry fitting it. And it wants to go more. We'll just leave it like that for now. Now I think we're pretty right to put the top on. And I'll show you what I mean by with all the stuff on there. I mean, this would have been pretty darn impossible to put on afterwards. As a matter of fact, let me just readjust for a minute. Boy, that was a good decision because that would have been seriously hard to do afterwards. Because I didn't realise this actually butts right up against it, so it probably wouldn't. I had a hard time actually dry fitting this, so now it's together. I'm going to leave it together. I'll just show you the other side. It's the same deal. I was only going to paint the top of those anyway, so it was mostly going to be the same as the superstructure, and yeah. Well, I'm glad I made the decision to put that in. And just while we're here, there's the top for the ladders to go down for the next floor. There is a hole there. What's that for? I'll have to go back and have a look at that. Okay, going back and looking, I'm pretty sure we're okay to go ahead and glue that down now. So I'll start preparing that. And I'll do that just offline. What I did is I glued the rear behind the two boxes upside down there to secure the back, and mainly because if you go around to the front, there's a bit of a gap there, So even though the structure underneath is quite okay, I thought I'd secure that first, then turn around and we'll glue this down, get that correct, and then we'll put some final glue inside on the structure underneath. What I did, I just let it open ever so slightly. When I put the glue in, it wicked its way all the way around. We'll turn it around the right way, and then pretty much squashed it together, just letting it dry. And when I let go, there's no more gap. It's good. We'll just give that edge a quick little clean, and then we'll finish gluing the underside. Okay, that's fitted nicely, all glued up and in there. I think what we might do, we might go ahead and build the next section, which goes on the top up here. Shouldn't take too long. Okay, almost the same as before. We have the next structure and the 4 pieces to make the next floor. Again, we'll go through, clean them up and get them all ready. I thought I'd come back just to show you again the big dags that are on the side of these. They got to come off. So a little bit of perseverance pays off. See, a little bit of perseverance and it'll look good. Well, this one here is way worse than the last one. You can see how big that dag is. It's got to come off. And again, a little bit of patience pays off. It's going to look very nice. I thought I'd bring you in and show you this piece before I actually cleaned it up. This is as rough as the days are long, this piece. So we'll just get this one all cleaned up as well. Okay, about 10 minutes later, all those pieces are now clean. So now I'll just quickly put them all together. I'm not going to show you putting together this time because it's pretty much exactly what we did with the other piece. So yeah. And again, I had to be really careful because it just wicked through and just about got me again. So I got lucky with that one. So always got to be a little bit careful about the wicking, especially when you're adding the first 2 pieces together. Very, very touchy, these little pieces. It's barely on there, been barely dry. But as you can see, there's a good close-up of the join. So there it is together and glued. We'll just let that go off for a minute and then I'll clean it up. So that's it, dry fitted without cleaning it. So it's pretty good. So I'll finish cleaning it up. Dry fit works and we'll glue that piece back in. I'll come back for that. So there we have it all cleaned up and dry fitted. All ready to go to be glued. So I'll glue that right now and I'll come back in a second. Okay, that's all glued together now. I think what we need to do is add this piece over here. So I'll get that one ready. Okay, there's the next piece. And I've already gone ahead and cleaned it up. We'll get ready to fit that piece in as well. On dry fitting, it wasn't the best fit, so I'll go back in and do some adjustments to this piece here to make it fit better. It's got to be squashed down a little bit, but I think that's about the best fit we're going to get. It doesn't really want to move too much more, so I think we're just going to have to go with it. Okay, that's now glued on there. It does need a little bit of cleaning up, but apart from that, I think it worked out pretty good. Okay, now to dry fitted. See how we go. Okay, that. Nice little snap there, that was pretty good. That looks pretty darn good. There's a little bit of stuff there to clean off. I'll come back in a second. Okay, I just gave it a quick little clean up to see how it fits. As you can see, it's fitting pretty good all the way around there. It's not glued in, of course, that top piece. Just showing you where we're at. Now, from there onwards, there's a few little bits and pieces got to go in here. Actually, at the back of this, so there's more ladders and stuff. So what I think I might do before I actually glue this one in, so we'll take this one back out. I think what I'll do is I'll come back and I'll fit the ladders in here, and then it's not going to be so bad because there's another set of ladders that go on this one, I believe, down. I don't think they're one ladder, that's for sure. Anyway, I'll go back and have a look and we'll see. As I said, we're not using any Pontos on this kit, so we are just going with the original one. So there's the ladders there. Yes, they're quite small. And again, every piece must be cut off and cleaned. So I'll cut off the H26 that we need and I'll come back. H26, there it is there. And here's the ladder, just the one side, and yes, it will need a clean. Even though these are small, it is interesting to note that there is a right and a wrong way. There the ladders fall down, there the ladders fall the right way, so you've got to make sure you put it on the right way as well. I'm going to try and get this on camera, but those ladders have to go in there like see if I can see it on the other side. That's it. In. Okay. There. Not glued in. But there is your ladder installed. Not bad. Pretty sure I'm going to glue that in right now. And I'll hit that ladder with some accent, some panel accent black to highlight the stairs afterwards. So that's the stairs in. That's why I've decided to glue them in right now, because they're sitting perfect, just the way I want them. So I'll glue them in. So I just readjusted the ladder in between. There's got to be like a 1/2 mil, not even on either side. So while I've got it sitting just perfect, I'll give the brush a couple of extra wipes away, and then we'll just put the tiniest little piece on here, and in a minute that'll dry. And then what I'll try and do, I'll try and get that on the camera. I'm going to glue the bottom of the stairs down there, so they're not going to go anywhere. So that's your staircase in, and it's now glued. There it is from the back angle. It's got one on the other side, so I'll quickly go ahead and put the other one in as well. So there's the other set of ladders prepared. I'll get ready to drop them in as well. So I'll drop this other set of staircases in. I'll try and get that on the camera while I'm doing it. There. And fall that way. And as you can see, on the top up there, I'll zoom in, I've also adjusted it equally left and right at the top there. Just there. That's it. Now, don't breathe. We'll just quickly put a little dab on there. Stop that one going anywhere. Give it half a second to go off, and then we will do the underneath under there too. So I'll quickly just grab the glue, feed it down there. Yep, that's it. Alright, so there's your both staircases in. They would have been pretty hard to do if I had have left the top cover on. You would never have got in there. So this is why it's pretty important to have a look a little bit, frontwards of what the next stage is. So that doesn't quite sit like that, but it sits basically like that, which just would have been really awkward to put them in with the other floor there. So that's why I've opted to put them in now. Okay, so here we have it. Let's have a look at what I've done today. And so we have the next piece. I'm not going to put that on just yet. So here it is. Altogether, might just zoom in a bit. And I think we did pretty good. Alright. Well, I hope you've enjoyed what I've done. I think we'll leave it there for today, and hopefully I'll see you on the next one. Bye. I've just come back because we talked about this little piece earlier in the notes that I've forgotten to do the other day, and I forgot to do it again today. So I've just taken it off, cleaned it, and I'm just going to add it to the front over here where it belongs before we get too far ahead of ourselves and we forget all about it. So I'll just quickly put that on as well. So there it is, dry fitted. I'll just quickly get some glue and put on there, and I'll come right back. Okay, there it is glued on, and I'm glad we haven't forgotten about it this time. So yeah, I feel happy about it. So there it is. This one again is just snapped on. We have to do some more work to that before I glue it down, and also work out what goes here as well. So I think that's pretty important to get on before we snap this one on. I was also looking at it, and just on a personal note, I was just admiring it. How many floors must have been on this ship? Like there's one. I can only imagine there's 1, 2, 3 here. So that's 4, 5, 6. And there's another one up here, 7 stories. This thing was like a 7-story building. It must have been like a tank coming down at you. So pretty impressive. That's just me on a personal note anyway. Because I'm just like, well, how many more levels are there on this? Anyway, I'm starting to waffle a little bit here. But I am pretty impressed with it. So we'll leave it there, and I will catch you on the next one for sure this time. Bye.